that was 18 minutes. Sorry, I hope that didn't go too long. Clearly, yeah. You see, this is why going to group meetings is better, because then, there's only so much I can say. And then obviously other people say what I would have said, and I don't need to say it again. So, but I don't want to be like a freeloader, but don't want to just say, oh, I read it and this is what I thought was great, and so I don't want to say what I thought. Anyway, Box Beetle, which I liked mostly. I thought it had some weaknesses in general. But overall, I thought it was fun. I was glad he went for it. He tried something. He had some interesting ideas and he went for it. And he writes well, I think. I think his only real, for me, the only real thing was sort of a similar problem to Daniel, is that he's focused a bit too broad again. He tried to include a few too many things. So let me go into more details. So so you say what the cons were, and I get in on the nice stuff, the pros afterwards. So I thought it was a little bit too over elaborate, and there were too many strands. There's eugenics, and then there's the whole Jewish stuff, and then there's the narrative with Evelyn that comes in as well, and then Evelyn and Sinner, and it's all a bit too much. Just too much. Focus is too broad. Also, the present day story is really, really underwritten. I think when you start the novel, you think it's going to be present day, and then obviously the past and present, past, and in the present he finds out things about the past, and there'll be sort of ironies and stuff and all that. But the present day becomes really quite peripheral, and he loses the narrative thrust of the present day story, so that by the time you get to the end, when all you have left is the present day story, you're not really that engaged with the story, not as engaged as you should be. And I think he's already captured your attention with the present day story. If you just wanted that to be the kind of bookend or the way into the story, then he shouldn't have given that much detail about the present day story. He shouldn't have coloured it with so much flourish as he does. So I think you left wanting more from that and feeling a bit disengaged, and that's a balance problem, I think. And I think there's a lot of the stuff that happens in the past that you could have found out through Kevin. What a name, Kevin. But you could have found it out through Kevin. And Kevin's interpretation of things is a nice way in. And there's a lot there which would have been nice to sort of hear or read through Kevin's viewpoint. All the stuff about fascism, all the stuff about Jewishness, because Kevin is a nice voice. Is it first person? I think it's first person. I think so. He's a nice voice and he's a nice character. So I think that's what I would have preferred him to have done. I also felt the character of Sinner wasn't as interesting as the others, because he's a little bit, a bit mute. I mean, he's interesting, he's enigmatic, but you be careful with how you work with enigmatic characters, because ultimately he himself isn't really leaping off the page, because he doesn't really give much of himself. He's private and stoic, really, is what he is. And you write about the effects on other people the whole time and how he's different from other people, and that's it's a relief, and he's going to use that relief sparingly. If that's the main theme all the time, then it becomes a bit tired and it's a bit bland if Sinner is too much in the focus. Don't think he's enough character to be in the focus. Or we need to get in his head, and we don't obviously get into his head enough. Also, some of his very clever expressions don't always come off, but that's just a small con. I think that's the main pro, is that he has a wonderful, wonderful turn of phrase. I loved the stuff he came up with, and it didn't feel forced. I think that's the main thing why the novel works for me. Is the whole novel doesn't feel forced. It's obviously creative, and it's obviously a bit weird and experimental. Well, I don't mean like weird experimental. You know what I mean? It's challenging, a bit funky, risque, and whatever. But yeah, weird. But you get the sense, I got a sense, that he really is interested in all this stuff. He's not just putting on a show, trying to be funny or trying to be weird. And because he is sincerely interested in, because this is a true narrative voice, or he sincerely kind of means what he's writing about, and he's not putting on a show. He's just, you know what I mean. He's not trying to be weird. He finds this kind of stuff interesting. I think that's why it worked. And yeah, and then the flourishes and the turns of phrase, you get the feeling that he hasn't sort of tried to painstakingly put them together, but they come to him. You know, they actually are. They come to him quite easily. They come out. They sound quite natural. I think that's why they work. Yeah, he's got a wonderful turn of phrase, and I've got some quotes I'm going to read to you in a sec. I also liked his characterisation. I thought Kevin really came off for me. He was interesting. He was vivid. And he seemed like a fully rounded character. Same with Erskine. Evelyn, a little bit kind of cliched, of course. But then Cormel and the kind of trainer guy, the nice guy. All the other characters, all really vivid and very interesting, and they were all quite real to me. They all worked. I thought there was a really good flow. The story had a very, very nice flow, and it got you through bits which got a bit tiring with the talks about eugenics and that kind of stuff, which all went on a little bit too long in terms of, you know, the narrative flow. You know, but his writing is written with